UFC Fight Night Mexico is just wrapped up. This is the morning afterwards. And yeah, I'm glad I waited to make this video because I got some stuff to think about. Yeah, I've calmed down a little bit from the main event and the co-main and a few other fights that didn't happen on this card. So I think now I am in a positive enough headspace to give a unbiased sort of opinion on this event. We're going to be starting from the first fight on the card, that being Eric Silva versus Mohamed Naimov. Oh my goodness, we're off to a rocky start. Naimov to Brandon Moreno versus Brandon Royval. And hopefully I calm down a little bit before then. So let's first start off with this fight. Barely a fight. I actually forgot this was even on the card because Eric Silva tore his MCL. He tore his MCL stepping back, trying to defend himself from a spinning heel kick. And when he stepped back onto the cage, like he stepped in between the gaps, in between the cage and the octagon canvas, tore his MCL, goes down, but when you're watching it, it looks like he got dropped by Mohamed. And Mohamed gets the win. Doctor stoppage, less than 1 minute in, and yeah, that was the fight. Eric Silva was probably going to lose anyways. Yeah, there's just not a lot to talk about on that one. Like, I would say more if I could. I mean, Mohamed looked good. Like, that's all I can really say. Victor versus Felipe Dos Santos. I'll try it. Victor Altamirano. Okay, I did pretty good on that. Versus Felipe Dos Santos. Okay, there was a few fights on this card that I was squinting my eyes at the decision there because I was like, how are these judges in Mexico judging this? This was one of them. I was really surprised Felipe won this fight. I thought Felipe maybe won one round of that being the third. But other than that, I thought Victor won rounds 1 and 2. And he did way better than I thought he was going to do, admittedly. Felipe Dos Santos, I mean, really couldn't get anything amazing done until around the third round. Decent scrambles, decent grappling, but Victor was getting more done. Weird fight. I had Victor winning. Like here's the thing. This is on the line between, like, you could call this a robber if you, it's a close fight. I thought Felipe only won one round though. Like this was a weird fight to be judged. Like I thought if anything, Victor was going to win if it went to a close fight. I thought the home crowd boys were going to win. But yeah, no, Felipe Dos Santos managed to win, and yeah, that doesn't sit right with me. This is on the line between close fight and robbery. Okay, like this is one of those fights that I'm going to be thinking about for a minute, and I might rewatch it. But I thought Victor won. Victor was getting ahead on the striking exchanges. Yeah, he was getting taken down, but these takedowns were not super meaningful outside of maybe like 1 or 2 of them. But I thought Victor won. Overall, pretty good fight. A lot of these fights were good. Like, I'll say this right now. In my opinion, the prelims of the Mexico card was better than the main card. We'll get to the main card in a few more fights, but let's keep going. Ronaldo Rodriguez versus Denise Bondar. Ronaldo Rodriguez is a dog, brother. Like, isn't it something crazy? He had 21 amateur fights. Like, he has crazy experience for at this point in his career. Bondar, this is what I think was happening. I think a lot of the people that weren't accustomed to fighting at elevation came in with the mentality of finishing the fight in the first round or early the second round. That's what I think Bondar was doing. Bondar came out swinging, was getting ahead in the striking exchanges, won the first round very clearly. Ronaldo, I think knowing that he was going to take the lead later on in the fight, was probably looking at this as, oh, this gringo really thinks he's going to beat me going into the second and third. Okay, I'm gonna show him what's up with this cardio real quick. And that's what he did. He stayed neutral, stayed calm, was able to weather the storm, let Bondar, tune him up a little bit, not landing anything too crazy. There was a few of the spinning back elbows that were making me nervous on Bondar's part, but Ronaldo got ahead in the grappling. But Ronaldo's grappling is actually not half bad. I think The commentary was saying they were saying something like he's so confident in his grappling, he was just go to his back off the double legs. And I think part of the reason why is he's aware, like, I think he knows that Bondar, it's going to take a lot for Bondar. Like, a lot of energy is going to be put out on Bondar's part to do a double leg and to take him down. And Ronaldo, like, it takes less energy to go to your back and just not get submitted and not get finished on Ronaldo's part when you're already confident in your cardio. And Bondar, I think, blew his load in the first round. And Ronaldo knows this and was like, okay, now this time, we're going to grapple, and I'm going to finish you. And that's what he did. He won by submission in the second round. Bondar, it says right here he had 1 more second. I thought it was 2 seconds, but whatever. Bondar tapped. Okay, you could have made it to the third, and that would have changed the course of the fight, but I'm happy you did it, because Ronaldo has that dog in him, and you do not. So therefore, Ronaldo might be the second biggest dog on the card, not the first. We'll get to that in a second. But Bondar, you're 31 years old. Okay? I'm low-key kind of happy you lost. Next up, Claudio Puelles versus Faris Ziam. Okay. This one... This gives... Okay. How do I say this? Ziam, learn how to grapple. Learn how to defend a double leg. And I know that sounds like, oh, well, that's just backseat coaching. How do you know? Brother, he sought a double leg at jabbing distance. Like, I was amazed that he got these double legs. Brother, you have the reads. Like, get double underhooks, get wrist control, create distance, sprawl. Like, he didn't even sprawl a single takedown until later on when they were starting to get both gassed. And this is what I think happened. I think Claudio knew that he was going to get, like, outclassed on the feet because they were training partners for a minute. Ziam knew that he was going to outclass him on the feet, and that's where he was comfortable, so he kept it at distance. That's where I thought he was going to get the finish. But Claudio, no. Ziam can't defend a takedown from jabbing distance when he has the reach advantage. Like, here's the thing. Claudio didn't deserve to win. But Ziam, oh my god. Like, this is one of those performances that every grappler in your division is going to be salivating, because now they know that they'll be able to take you down, ragdoll you, and easily beat you. Like, work on your takedown defense, dude. Like, that was not a great performance. Like, don't get me wrong, striking, amazing. The way that he was able to piece him apart at distance. Claudio, what the hell is going on? Like, he was getting these takedowns, not landing any strikes. I think Claudio forgot that this was an MMA fight and was almost looking at it as a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu match. And I get it. Those are fun too. At the same time, why aren't we landing any punches? Especially when we're at the later part of the round where you need to secure these rounds because you don't know how these Mexican judges are going to be scoring it. When we just had Felipe Dos Santos win his fight, we had a lot of weird moments on this card. I think the judges got this right because Claudio did not deserve to win this. I know somebody's going to say, well, control time. I think they got it right because Claudio was not landing crazy punches. He had a few close submission attempts. Ziam, he kept on turning his back to his opponent. Like, if he fights somebody that's built similar to him with a grappling that is just slightly better than him, I think he gets submitted rather easily. Like, good fight, don't get me wrong. Should not have been a split. Should have been a UD, not a robbery. No. Okay. Next up. Edgar Chairez versus Daniel Lacerda. Let me remember back really quick. I'm sorry. Okay, this was a good fight. This one, apparently, the first fight ended in kind of a weird way, so they decided to do the rematch. This one ends in round 1. Edgar Chairez comes out, puts on a good performance, decent enough striking, is able to finish by a submission in the first round. Like, this is a good performance. Here's the thing. I was going to open up this video that a lot of these Mexican fighters didn't sew up. But I'm going to say it right now. The majority of them did, but the ones that we thought were going to put on a division-making performance, a championship-making performance, just didn't. I think I let that kind of get into the way. A lot of these guys on the prelims did very good, and in all honesty, Edgar Chairez was probably one of my favorite performances on the card. Not one of my favorite fights, to be honest with you. It was good for as long as it lasted, but Edgar Chairez knew what he had to do to win, was able to get the submission win, and good on him for doing it. This was a good fight. Next up, Jesus Aguilar versus Mateus Mendoca. Weird. This one was also on the line of robbery and close fight. You want to know how I know that? Because I thought so, and the Mexican fans thought so. Bro, when they announced him as the winner, the cheers were not really there. Like, it was more of like, what? He won? What? Like, there was not a lot of cheering for Jesus Aguilar, and to be fair, I mean, I thought Mateus won. Like, maybe the reason that I'm thinking it this way is because if Jesus Aguilar won this fight, Felipe Dos Santos lost his fight. Like, if that makes sense, okay? If Mateus lost, so should Felipe. It was a very similar-esque fight. Not similar in, like how you would score this fight in favor of Jesus, you would have to score it in, like, to the detriment of Felipe Dos Santos. Like, that, it was one of those fights. Like, this was very, like, I'm happy he won. It's good that he was able to win in front of his crowd, but damn, this was, I don't know. Like, this is one of the, there was a lot of split decisions here. This one I think they did get wrong. I thought Mateus won. But, overall, the prelims were good. You know what? Since this is going to be the last prelim fight, I'm going to say the prelims were a little bit better, okay? Next, actually, let's talk about this. Man, I almost went off one of my favorite fights on the card. Kristen Quinones versus Rhino Barcelos. I'm just going to say Barcelos. Great fight. Amazing fight. This was probably one of my favorite fights on the card, if not the favorite. Kristen Quinones, great striking, was able to keep the distance, but at the same time, was not good in the pocket. He got rocked by a one-armed Barcelos. What happened? Bro, he dislocated his shoulder at the end of the first round and was able to outstrike you on the feet with one arm. Bro, after the first round, you could watch the fight back. He was only throwing that right hand, very rarely throwing that front hand. Yeah, no. Barcelos proved he got that dog in him. Probably the second biggest dog on the card. We'll get to that. Barcelos was the second biggest dog on the card. I respect that. Was getting rocked. Was losing the fight going into the third. Gets a submission win. Gangster stuff right there. Great fight. You know what? Prelims were good. I think, I don't know. I haven't watched the full video. Guru said that this was like one of the worst cards or something. I don't know. But this wasn't that bad. The prelims were great. An amount of the main card was great. We'll get to that. But the prelims were the best part of this entire card. If you're going to rewatch it, rewatch that. Now going into the main card, Manuel Torres versus Chris Duncan. Performance of the night, dude. Watch this fight back. Like, I feel like if I describe this fight to you, I might be doing it a disservice. It was a very close to decide what the main performance of the night should be. Good fight. You know what? Good on Manuel Torres, dude. I did not do... I think I did pick Manuel Torres, if I remember correctly. Oh, yeah, I got a lot of picks wrong in this card. I'm just going to admit it. So if I sound extra salty, take that into consideration. I don't care if you just call me, oh, you're salty because you were wrong. No. I have reasons to be salty. But great fight of the card. Performance of the night. Deserved. Manuel Torres. I think there should have been a few other ones. Like, now that I'm thinking about it, I think Ronaldo Rodriguez could have gotten a performance of the night. I think Edgar Chairez, not Jesus Aguilar, and something here, dude. Like, yeah, what? Why didn't they get no performance of the... Okay, they should have done multiple. This was very close. I would argue... It does sit with me the wrong way, actually. Okay, whatever. Great fight. Rewatched it. Yeah. Next one, Yasmin versus Sam Hughes. Women's MMA at its finest. Kind of. So, This is how I knew this was going to be a meh fight. Okay, so Sam Hughes, when they're introducing Yasmin, okay, they're talking about all her accolades, her training partners, all of that. No, normal stuff. When they introduced Sam Hughes, I shit you not, bro, I started dying laughing because they were like, Sam Hughes is a D1, and I'm expecting wrestler. A D1 runner. That's how you know you're cooked. When the only positive thing they had to say about you was your toughness and you're a D1 runner. Like, the cardio proved it. She was able to hold that up. Could not complete a single double leg. Kept on going for the body lock. Yasmin doesn't even have, see, there was so many openings to go for double legs here. Sam Hughes could have won this fight because I honestly think Yasmin's, just don't stop trying to body lock people. Go for a double leg. Change levels. I know it's difficult if you're not used to it. After this fight, I hope they trained you how to do, a double leg. I think that'll help you out in your career. But they're, not my favorite fight on the card. Actually, it might be one of the weakest fights on the card. Yasmin did pretty good. I like Yasmin. Her striking's pretty decent, but it calls into question because Sam Hughes was just meh. Okay. Daniel Zellhuber versus Francisco Prado. Dog! Francisco needs a performance bonus on top of the fight of the night. He needs that dog bonus, dude. The Mexican doctors, dude, do not care. This man lost half of his face. Okay? Half of his face was gone. And when the doctor takes a look at him, they're like, no, it's bueno. It's good. He was not good. He goes to his corner, okay? And they're Argentinian, so they're speaking Spanish. So, and then the translator is kind of going through because he's speaking pretty frantically, okay? Because this is a pretty good fight. They tell Francisco, hey, you don't need, aim down the middle, you don't need your eyes to fight. Dog. Francisco's a dog. Good fight. Daniel Zellhuber. This is at lightweight? Daniel Zellhuber, what? Okay, you know what? Daniel Zellhuber, okay. Buddy, you're built like this at make him fight Jalen Turner, dude. These lightweights, they ain't lightweights, dude. Oh. You know what? Fine, the reason that he's at lightweight is because he would get worked by just about everybody at welterweight. Okay? Francisco Prado is a legit lightweight. Daniel Zellhuber, dude, how are you making this division? He won't be able to make it much longer. This is Mexican Jalen Turner. What? It was a great fight. Francisco Prado was catching Daniel Zellhuber despite, weighing 6 inches lower than him, having a severe reach disadvantage. Daniel Zellhuber kept it at distance and just, blew half of his face off, but wasn't able to get a finish. I mean, great fight. Was a fight of the night because Francisco deserved a $50K bonus to, facial reconstruction surgery. But, dude, you're at lightweight? Built like that and you couldn't get a finish? I picked you to win. Wow. Okay, yeah. That actually changes how I look at this fight. I don't know why I forgot it was at lightweight. Yeah. Rewatch it if you want to see some graphic stuff. Oh, insert here. Raul Rosas Jr. could not fight Quinones and take his bonus. Quinones needs to get paid. He actually needs to get paid. I understand the UFC is going to be like, well, he didn't have to fight. Brother, he made it to the octagon, was ready to fight, and Raul Rosas Jr. had a tummy ache. He was fine that morning. He was fine the day before. Within a few hours, became violently ill apparently, and now they're going to reschedule it for the next fight night. That is pretty crap. They kind of need it. But yeah, no, Quinones needs to get paid, bro. This is one of the first times I actually wanted to see Raul Rosas Jr. fight because I wanted to see how he would stack up. Bro, what? Like, that was a pretty big disappointment on the card. Okay, let's talk about Yair Rodriguez versus Brian Ortega. Performance of the night, yeah. I got these last two wrong, so if I'm salty, that's why. Brian Ortega, let me tell you the storyline really quick. Brian Ortega gets worked by Max Holloway, gets worked by Alexander Volkanovski, loses approximately half of his brain cells, loses so much of them, in fact, that he cheats on Tracy Cortez. Tracy Cortez then gets on to fool around with Paulo Costa, and from what I hear, Charles Oliveira, who was at the Octagon that night. Tracy Cortez was also at the Octagon that night. So, Brian Ortega came out as a broken man, I assume, to prove something. He goes to the pre-fight press conference, and they ask him a very simple question. What do you mean by the word rebirth? And he goes on a 2-minute rant, comparing himself to a damn eagle. Like Tony Ferguson levels of CTE and brain damage. Like, we need to check up on this man. I made a video in good faith saying, if Brian Ortega were to lose to Yair Rodriguez, they need to send some people to his house, because this is the talks of a man that's had enough. But Brian Ortega goes into this fight, rolls his ankle before the first round even begins. You can see him celebrating, jumps, rolls his ankle, looking at Henner Gracie in his corner, and you can see Henner like, did he just roll his ankle? Yup. Fuck. Like, I thought he was going to get worked. I picked Yair to win because of all of the things that I stated before. Brian Ortega loses the first round. I would say he lost. He had a pretty good momentum shift near the end. Yair Rodriguez must be super confident in his grappling because he thought he was going to submit Brian Ortega. Okay? Bro was feeling himself a little bit too much. Brian Ortega wasn't having any of that. So the second round begins. The fight's momentum completely gets sifted. Brian Ortega gets a head and arm triangle choke. Forgets to let go. Mark Goddard is literally pushing this dude off of him as Yair Rodriguez is just going out in front of his family, who thinks that this is going to be a relatively easy win. They've already set up Yair Rodriguez versus Ilia Topuria in that beef, while you got Brian Ortega having a 2-minute rant about eagles. Okay? Like, the UFC very clearly wanted Yair to win. And Brian Ortega does it. Like, spoils the whole thing. Goes on the microphone, starts talking. First off, Brian Ortega goes on the microphone and starts talking about, like, brother, I brought God into this fight. Okay, 100%, bro. You got some help on this one, boy. And talks about, like, I rolled my ankle and I was like, nah, nothing to worry about. God's with me. Hilarious. Like, but he actually, like, he was winning me over a little bit. And then the Mexican translator, sorry, not Mexican, I'm sorry. So the Spanish translator is trying to translate to this crowd, and Brian Ortega puts his hand up and is like, nah, brother, I got this. I completely forgot bro is perfectly fluent in Spanish. And the entire crowd is just laughing with him, explaining this story to them. And he wins over the entirety of the Mexican crowd. He went from public enemy number 1 to their homeboy within the course of a minute. Respectable. Brian Ortega debunks the idea of karma. Because, bro, she got on Tracy Cortez, everything else I just named, and beats Yair Rodriguez. And when they ask him, hey, do you want to fight Ilia Topuria? He says, nah, man. I'm going to go with the flow, man. Like, I think it's disrespectful what's going on with Volk. And it's like, okay. So you're not going to fight in Spain. It's probably going to be O'Malley now. It's either going to be O'Malley or Max Holloway. Like, that's really what's going to happen. But yeah, no. I'm not even that salty. This actually was hilarious. Now we go up to the salty bit. Brandon Moreno versus Brandon Royval. I have calmed down. That softened me up. So now I'm just going to say this. Brandon Moreno, I am very skeptical of his 5-round cardio. Very, very, very skeptical. I know it was in Mexico City. I know it was at elevation. I then found out that Brandon Royval trains in Colorado, which is at elevation. And I think that was a huge factor to the fight. But at the same time, Brandon Moreno, I'm going to be genuine with you. Championship aspirations should be done. Honestly. For real. Like, how do you go from having a quadrilogy with Figueiredo? Okay? Figueiredo literally quit flyweight because of you. You lose to Pantoja for your title defense. Okay? Cool. You've always lost to Pantoja. You have at least 5 championship fights. All 5 rounds. You have gone the distance in most of them. Renan Royval, if I remember correctly, only has 1 fight that he went the full distance, and that was against Pantoja. I had coffee before this, that's why the burps. So Brandon Moreno looked better against Pantoja than Royval did. And very clearly, they were wanting Moreno to fight Pantoja on the 301 card, and we'll get to that at the very end of the video. They wanted that to happen. Pantoja was in the crowd. Public enemy number 1. And Brandon Moreno forgets how to fight a 5-round fight. Legitimately. Like, every punch that he was landing, every punch that he threw pretty much landed on him. Like, Royval was having a lot of difficulties, but he outvolumed Brandon Moreno 2-1. Like, I rooted for Brandon Moreno to win, and I picked Brandon Moreno to win. When the fight ended, I was like, Royval won, bro. Royval won. Okay? Brandon Moreno, I'm very skeptical of his 5-round cardio now. Like, legitimately. And I understand all the factors that are being taken place, but how do you let Royval do that to you? Like, here's the thing. You're not going to beat Pantoja. Your way back was to beat Royval. Royval wasn't even supposed to fight on this card. You were supposed to fight Amir Albazi. So Royval had to step up and do this after fighting Pantoja. So Royval's probably going to have to fight Pantoja again in Brazil. You're probably going to have to fight either Amir Albazi. Honestly, bro, you might have to just move up a division and fight Figgy again. Like, you're about 50% effective against Figueiredo. You're 0% effective against Pantoja. I have no clue what's going on with Moreno. He forgot how to fight a 5-round fight. And poor Brandon Royval, dude. Royval goes on the microphone and is getting horrifically booed. Bro had the whip out. He whipped out I'm 1/4 Mexican, dude. That 1/4 won me the fight. The crowd wasn't buying it, dude. You were public enemy number 1.5. Compared to, Pantoja. They forgot to hate Pantoja after what you did. And I thought you did win. It's not a robbery. Royval did enough to win. Wow. For real, dude. And the reason that the Brazil card is such a big, 301 is such a big deal, because now the only champion that's Brazilian that could fight on that card it's Pantoja versus Brandon Royval again. That's it. You're going to make that the headliner? Alex Pereira's fighting on 300. So, honestly, we're in a point where they're hoping that Alex Pereira will just crop dust Jamal Hill so they can insert him as the main event of 301 to fight Magomed Ankalaev. So, 301's in trouble now. Yeah, this card wasn't that bad. Like, I know I'm saying all these negative things. Overall, it was a pretty good card. The main event was lacking. I'm sorry. Like, I thought Royval won. It doesn't change the fact that it was kind of a mid-fight, to be honest with you. Yair Rodriguez, Brian Ortega, good fight. Daniel Zellhuber, good fight. But, bro, how are you a lightweight in not KOing Francisco Prado? Meh. Good. All the prelims, pretty good except for the first one. And a lot of splits that I think they got half of them right, and half of them were just a robbery. I'm just going to say it. Overall, 7 to 7.5 out of 10. Needs work. And what's our next event? Oh! Roizenstreek versus Gaziev is the next fight night. I'm not going to be doing the full... What? Oh. Oh my lord. I ain't gonna get any views on that. Oh my lord. Bro, that's terrible. What happened to Tai Tu? What? That's a terrible card. Man, oh wow. That's a bad card. At the Apex. Okay, you know what? No, I'm sorry to end on a somber note. That's a terrible card. This is golden compared to that. Tell me what you think about the UFC Fight Night Mexico card, Moreno versus Royval 2, in the comment section down below. What was your favorite fight on the card, and what was your least favorite fight on the card, and did you think the judges got it right? Tell me in the comment section below. Thank you for your continued support. It means the absolute most to me. And with that out of the way, thank you for watching, and adios, guys.